interruption in the last class when we were right through the Sutra number 6 of the second chapter, which is Shaktopaya of the Siva Sutras. Guru Rupayaha. Guru is the means for self-realization when we are moving forward. And we have already done those sutras in the second chapter. What is the nature of the mantra? Mantra is no different from the way consciousness. So all these prakriyas like mantra sadhana is essentially to sort of inculcate in us an attitude, an understanding, and finally a reality where there is abhedapatti, non-duality, complete immersion of our consciousness in the universal, unending, infinite, divine consciousness, Paramashiva consciousness. So there is a lot of discussion on what is the role of the guru. It's a bit controversial because every day in the newspapers you may be coming across a kind of a blind following amongst a lot of gullible masses. Only 2-3 days back there was a stampede in certain part of India, in Uttar Pradesh, and those 120 odd people lost their lives. Such incidents do happen once in a while. Blind belief. So there is an element of a very negative attitude towards the very idea of guru, and a lot of people sort of come to a conclusion that they have to do their spiritual sadhana on their own. Then they don't require any counsel. They don't require any human being as a mediator between the absolute divine and them. And so you have different kinds of people, and there are people who are anti-guru gurus, like say, for example, Ram, like for example, the great, the person, like for example, if you look at how Osho talked about, or for example, if you look at Krishnamurti, they would say that, okay, he can tell you actually what is the truth, but he cannot support you or stuff like that. He can tell you the truth, he can tell you the destination, but you have to reach there. That there is some admission there that there has to be this particular audio dialogue you may try to access somewhere. There's a beautiful dialogue between Krishnamurti and one of his devotees on what is the role of the guru. So there are many such interviews, discussions, and different academic articles by different people researching on this subject. There's a bit of negativity in the sense that gurus sometimes treat the devotee or the disciple as a child. They do not empower him to be on his own. They continue to maintain some kind of influence and try to control him. These are some of the negative perceptions about the role of the guru in the life of a spiritual aspirant. Coming to Kashmiri Saivism, however, so also in Vedanta and all other spiritual traditions, this is a risk. This is a risk you cannot avoid, because it's like you go to a college, you send your son or daughter to the college. It's quite possible that she might meet a friend who is a drug addict, and she may take to substance abuse. But actually you're sending her because she can access the library, she can do well. Similar is the situation in the spiritual life. So it's very important. And I think Thakur or somebody says, I think someone also said that Pani pijiye chan ke, or Guru chuniye jaan ke. First learn who are the person, know about it, be careful. Thakur used to always say, you question the Guru. You try to realize after having raised all kinds of questions. Swami Vivekananda had a lot of very troubling questions posed to Thakur, and he would smile and try to resolve it. Sometimes he used to argue with Thakur. So the true aspirants are not necessarily the ones who bow down, because the ones who bow down are perhaps not even engaging with the truth the Guru or the counselor is trying to share with his disciple. somebody who is more involved has a few questions in his mind, because he's very serious. He's just not arguing for the heck of it. He's serious about it. So here, remember what they're saying is Guru Rupaya. Guru is the means. What does that mean? Is it possible then you cannot bypass the Guru? No, you might treat Lord Shiva as your Guru directly, or Shakti as your Guru directly. Yogeshwar Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is the Paramaguru of Arjuna. All the Saivites treat Narayana as the Guru. All the Vaishnavais see Lord Shiva as the Paramaguru. It's very interesting. And so here, Guru Upayaha. Guru is the means. So there is a human medium through whom, and that human medium, is he supposed to be a personal friend, stuff like that? There's a lot of research on that. What will be the relationship between the disciple and the Guru? A lot of people have done a lot of research. In certain circumstances, you'd find there's a very deep personalized relationship, but that's not the topic of discussion today. The topic of discussion today is, how is the Guru a means? Why so? What does the Shastra say? That is what we are trying to understand today. So, tad atra mudra manta virya sadhane. So, when you want to understand the gestures, mudras, Kshechari mudra is not a physical or a psychophysical manipulation or a certain condition in your body-mind complex you are creating. That was rejected. The real thing is Kshechari mudra is that samyavastha, that dissolution of your consciousness in that divine consciousness. Khecharateti Kshechari, it's not about twisting your tongue. It's by establishing your consciousness in a way that it's no more differentiable from the divine consciousness. That is the real Kshechari mudra. And therefore he says, mantra, chitta mantra, again that is consciousness, you say. So, virya sadhane, that mantra virya, the source, the energy center, the essence of all this, how do you get there? You're saying for all this, you need proper guidance. Because otherwise you might look at the books, they're available in the market, in the libraries, on the internet. However, you would not know how to make an entry into it. Either you have a direct guru or you have indirect. So when we are accessing material, we are trying to understand, we are looking for the right kind of commentary which allows us that passage from little knowledge to greater knowledge, from little understanding and little experience to greater understanding and greater experience, with sadhana, with involvement. So what he's saying, if you look at, so directly, I'll just look at that small commentary, and there's a lot of beautiful discussion yesterday. I mean, the last satsang that we tried to start and we got interrupted, we'll complete it today. Yadyapi Maudram Sastram cha Samarthyam Ekarupam Eva. So with this mudra and mantra, all these are sadhanas, mantras and mudras. Samarthyam Ekarupam Eva tathapi Karya Vedat Vahyartha Pratipatya. So what is mantra meditation? Okay, Bhairavapati. End of the day, you want to be in that non-differentiated, pure consciousness. You want to be in that samadhi avastha. Doing mudra, what are you trying to achieve? Where are you trying to reach? Same thing. So it's one thing. What is the difference between doing mudras and mantras? He's saying no. Essentially they are one, but Karya Veda, means of reaching there, is becoming a little distinct from one another. Therefore he's saying Bahyartha Pratipatya Anusarina Bhinna Iva Avhati. It appears. It appears. There is an avhasa. There is an appearance as if mantra and mudra are different from each other. Ataha mudra mantra prapti upaya swarupam nirdisati Guru Upaya. So how do I now know? Because they are slightly different. I want to do some mantra sadhana. You gave me a long lecture on mantras. You gave me another lecture on mudras, Khechari mudra. How do I reach there? Because these are difficult subjects. They're very esoteric, very mystical. Then the teacher, the text says, the Guru Rupaya. You have to go to somebody who knows it. There's a beautiful story in the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad. And in that Upanishad, he's talking about a person who is in deep ignorance. How does he reach the ultimate truth? That Jiva Brahmiva Naparaha. How does he reach there? This is a beautiful story. So what happens is, a guy from Afghanistan, they say that in Madhya Desa, in certain part of India, some bootleggers or dacoits or whatever, robbers, got hold of him. They didn't kill him. They took his assets, they tied his hands and legs and mouth and abandoned him in the forest and left. After some time, a very compassionate, kind person, incidentally, a lot of people were hearing some noise. He was trying to make some noise to draw attention of others. Made no difference to a lot of people. But suddenly there was one Paramakarunika, very compassionate, kind person came and untied him, made him stand. And he said, "Where are you from?" He speaks in his own language. He said that I am from Gandhara. Gandhara is Afghanistan now. He says, okay, you have to move towards the northwesterly direction and move ahead. Can you reach from somewhere in Bihar, Uttar Pradesh to Gandhar at one go? No. Like, for example, in a big city, you ask, how do I reach there? Say, okay, it's just ahead of you. Actually, it's not ahead of you. You have to take several turns. He said, keep asking whenever you have some doubts or questions, and slowly you'll reach there. Similarly, this guy tells him that you have to move in the northwest direction. The person walks. Then asking and asking and asking the same question. How do I reach Gandhara? He meets a lot of people one after the other and finally reaches there. That is how the story about the Guru is introduced in that. So when you have Antakarana Shuddhi, you have Viveka Vairagya, Sadhana Chatushtya Samparnaha, Te Gachanti Kutra, Guru Pusadanam. They'll go to the Guru. And then the Guru will read, not from his mind, as per the Shastra. So read from the Upanishads, give them what is the way to reach there. The way beautifully we had a discussion between the student and the teacher and Viveka Chudamani. Finally, Guru says, yeah, I recognize, I see that you have almost reached there, but keep doing practice to stabilize your elated state of self-realization, which becomes very evident now. But you have to be doubly sure, you have to continue your practice, your meditation, your vichara. That is how here they're talking about this whole thing. Is saying, Ataha mudra mantra prapti upaya swarupam nirdisati guru rupayaha. Then he's saying mudradi virya praptyartham. So all these things that you want to realize, sarva shreshta rupaya gurum. What is the best way to reach there? Mantra and virya. These are all fine, but if you have a right kind of a spiritual counselor, that is the best thing to have. Guru Sakti stu tavata sambhavi sakti. That will come in the Kshemaraja. Remember, anybody is giving anything to us, he is not giving it. It's Ishvara Anugrahat. It's through, it's divine grace coming through a human medium. When the Guru, any Guru you go, he will have on Ishtadevata. And he will have his own texts that he studies. He has nurtured himself to reach there through means, which he has perfected. He used to reach there, or is ahead of you, and he can give you some guidance. He is not without any guidance. He is also with guidance himself, and he is reached there. Either he's a Jivan Mukta, he is still doing sadhana, whatever. So Guru Shakti stu tavata Sambhavi Shakti. Because whether it's mantras, what did he say? Sarva mantraha varnatmaka. And then all the varnamatrakas are Sakyatmika, and Sakti is Shivatmika. Everything goes back to the origin, which is that Parama Shiva consciousness. Therefore, he's saying Shambhavi Shakti, Sambhu Sambandhya, is that supreme energy of the supreme being, the supreme truth, the supreme reality, which is the Sambhu. Bhartati. Sa eva nirantaram anugraham karoti. He doesn't grace you once by touching your head. Because here the prakriya is slightly different. Here the Shastra says sadhana has to be anantara, not with interruptions. God's grace through the Guru or directly has to be nirantara. It's not very episodic, but again and again in the last, for example, we studied in one of the couple of sutras earlier, don't lose heart if you are experiencing a kind of a turmoil, some kind of a breakdown, some distraction in the path of your individual sadhana. Return to that point again and again. You shouldn't worry about it. Return to that path. It could be 1,000 times, makes no difference. The last time will be the easiest that you connect with the divine. You have been hammering a thing, but it's the last straw on the camel's back, as they say. Similarly, your last trial, your last effort, your attempt may be the easiest, which gives you a very quick entry. Give me a second, I just to close the door. The kids are shouting. Give me 1 second. So that is the drawback of living, in an apartment where other people or kids can disturb. So, coming to the point, what he is trying to say is that Gurum Arthat Guru Shakti Reva Tadrisa Mudra Diviryam Labhartam Guru Shakti He Rite Nasti Kashtan Upayaha. Without the benefit of a spiritual master, of this Guru, it is not possible for a person to access that Mudra Adi Viryam, the mantra Mudra Adi Viryam, that energies that you want to cultivate. It's not possible to be there. Now, if you look at Kundalini, for example, hundreds and hundreds of people give a lot of advice, and there are a lot of gurus that they will do Kundalini Jagriti and this and that. But if you are looking for a real one who has actually experienced, who has actually reached there, you have to find somebody in the tradition. Otherwise, it's all talk. They can have a lot of lectures, you can have demonstrations, and there are experiences. They'll refer you to a lot of books and a lot of spiritual guides who are great leaders in this field. When it comes to you, you will not make any headway in this process unless you find somebody who tells you exactly what happens. Okay, so that is the critical aspect that you have to understand, that it doesn't happen at all without the active facilitation of a spiritual counselor. And that is very, very important, and that's what is mentioned here. Guru Shakti tu tavat Sambhavi Shakti hi sa eva nirantaram anugraham karoti utpatat rakshito jivaha sansaram prati nishpruha virukta bhavati. Then, when you have this Guru intervenes in you, then you have these minor inner calls, major inner calls, but you are not being able to make sense of it. Once you have this, Rakshito Jivaha, you are protected, Sansaram Prati Nishpro Viraktu Bhavati. Then you lose interest in this sansara. It doesn't excite you anymore. You want to focus on your sadhana. Vairagyam upagato deho sadgurung prati valat sannihito bhavati. Then vairagyam upagato. There could be, many times, a lot of things are packaged in some setbacks, spiritual ascensions, spiritual rise in your life could come through a setback, some kind of a problem, some disturbance. So maybe a relationship breaks, or somebody says something, or you are not finding something meaningful. It could be a biological event, like you had a major fever or some kind of thing, like we had a big epidemic, COVID. A lot of things happen. It comes through some event, and then suddenly the direction of your life, you want to change, because you find what you have been doing a little less meaningful, not completely meaningless, but you're losing interest. Then you want to find out what is that which is going to give me greater satisfaction and greater feeling of well-being as to who am I. Then what does he do? He goes to the Guru. Then Sadgurung Prati Valad Sannihito Bhavati. He's pulled there. He's not wanting it, maybe, but he would go there. As Lakshman Juji used to say, he was a great master of Kashmiri Saivism. Not only an expert in books, he was not a professor, but he was a practitioner. And so you would say that in meditation, in fact, you would be having these visions, or you will access these energies, and somebody will ask him, why not while walking? Why not while studying? He said, yeah. So in walking and studying also, these things can happen. But when God wants to send you these positive energies, he would immediately pull you to the meditation seat where you would sit, and then you are in the right condition. It's like the mother wants to feed the baby. The baby is dirty. It's lying on the bed. It just wetted the bed, and little baby. And then what does the mom do? She changes her diapers, gives her a good dress, puts some talcum powder, and cleans her up, picks her up, puts her on her lap, then brings the baby food for her. That is the way it goes. That's what God will send us to, a context in which we can adequately connect with the divine. Like, for example, there's a boy and a girl, and they have started talking to each other. They want to have a good half an hour conversation as to how and where do they move forward to. They find a place where they can sit and talk. Meditation is like that. Meditation, you want to talk to the divine, you want to connect with the divine, you need to have a conditioning which is conducive, which contributes to a greater connection, immersion, delusion, oneness that we are aspiring for. So Sadgurung Prati Vala Sannihito Bhavati Tatvikarthanam Nirupanad Upaya Pada Varnanacha Guruhu. So what is saying? Tatvika Arthanang Nirupana. We have a lot of things in samsara. They are not tattvika. What is tattva? That Brahma tattva? That's not tattvika, because what is tattva? Tattva is what is Trikalavadhyatva Van, which is not deniable in Atita, Vartamana, Bhavishyata, Jagrata, Swapna, Susupti. All the time, it is perennially present. You remember that verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 16 in chapter 2. Nasuto vidyati bhava, na bhavo vidyati sata. What is false can never have an existence. And what is real can never become non-existent. You may not see it, it may not become evident, but it's always existent. Why? Because it's true and real. Therefore, he's saying, then what happens is that Tattvika Artha Nirupana, he gives you certain clues as to how to make sense of these Tattvika Artha, that Paramashiva Tattva. And these are the Upaya Pada Varnana Cha. Upaya, what is that? What is that you want to reach? Guru is Upaya. Who is Upaya? Paramashiva. I see. So the Guru is independent, who is taking us to Paramashiva. He's Upaya. He's also a small cog in the machine. Guru is a representative of Paramashiva. He's going to help us with God's grace only, not on his own. If in our punya, in our karma, there is not enough in store, we haven't had enough savings, even the bank manager is very fond of you, cannot give you a loan. You need to have your credit rating in a right slot to be eligible for a big loan. You have that, then he can put the signature to release the loan to you. It's a little like that. So you have the eligibility, conditions fulfilled by you, then he sanctions the loan. Similarly, the Guru can facilitate your reaching the divine or you're realizing something. Sometimes what the Guru expects you to achieve, you may achieve much more. Sometimes the Guru may overestimate you, sometimes may underestimate you. End of the day, both the Guru and you are children of God. And both of you have your independent destinies spiritually. So in many cases, you'll find that there are great students who are continuing to do the sadhana even after some controversy or the fall of the Guru. They may have a bit of psychological issue there, but they continue, they move forward. They are not touched by the human figure of the Guru anymore because they are already in touch, in sync with the Parama Guru, Parama Shiva Tattva. Therefore, they have no issues. So he's saying, he tells you also about what is the Upeya, what is the final destination you want to reach. Therefore, he is the means, he is Upaya. Guru who, then he's saying, Manasatitam, Paramadhamni Shive, Vishranti Artha, Marga Darsanapi Karayati. So I tell you, where does the Guru take you? Which Guru are you talking about? There are a lot of Gurus in the market. Some Gurus you give some Diksha. I am in love with this girl or boy. Any girl or boy goes and tells him, sir, he doesn't behave well with me. I want to draw his attention. Can you help me? What should I do? You do this mantra, you do this puja. Okay, so many dollars, so many rupees. That's also a Guru. Another Guru says, okay, how do I have some problem in the stock market. Can you help me? Yes, I can help you. These are Gurus. They combine palmistry, astrology, soothsaying, occult, all that. And they have a role to play emotionally, even though they may be telling soothing lies, but they have some role in all these people who are going to them. But we are not talking about that kind of a person. We are talking about the person who takes us where he's saying, Manasatitam Paramadhamani. He takes you to the Paramadhama, the ultimate destination. Can you have some description? I'm sorry, I cannot give you the description. Manasatitam is beyond Avang Manashogocha. It's not to be captured through words or through mental imaginations. And you are there, Shiva. That is the Parama destination. He takes you to Paramashiva, where he's also going. He's just making you a kind of a co-worker, co-journeyman. You're going with him. Shiva, Vishranti Artha. There is where you want to stabilize, you want to reach, you want to rest after reaching there. Marga Darsanapi Karayati. He tells you how to go there. He's also walking there. Oh, you want to go there? I'm going there. Come along with me. He's that kind of a spiritual friend with whom you want to move forward. Quickly, we'll look at Kshemaraja's commentary, very short, but there's some interesting from other sources that I will tell you about after this. Tadatra Mudra Mantra Virya Asadanepi. Whatever he said, that small comment at the bottom. Then he's saying Grinati Upadisati. So, this teacher, what does he do? He gives you advice. Tatvikam Arthamiti Guruhu. What kind of thing he advises you about? about the stock market, about marriage, about house. I was talking to one yoga teacher. I said, how do you handle these students? Because they have 5% of their curiosities about spiritual stuff. 95% is about their individual lives. He said, yeah. He said, I have learned a bit of yoga. I come from a rural Indian village. I've got no clue to what kind of life they're leading. I know asanas, pranayamas, and dhyana, these things I can deal with. I'm not even very good in English. So when these people come to me and they discuss about their lives, I know I will not have any clue to it. I can't even understand it. Because my life world is very simple from where I come. And what they are dealing with are far more complex than I can imagine. I know my limitations. I don't even venture into all that. What do you do? He said, I said, look, I said, you have paid some money, you have come here this for a yoga class. Only about this much I can discuss. What are the issues you are facing? I absolutely won't be of any use if you want to ask me about your relationship, your workplace toxicity, and interpersonal problems. I'm not the one. You have to look for other people to help you. But what I'm suggesting and what the program is suggesting, if you do, some of those problems may be better handled by you because you are empowering yourself by doing these asanas and yogas. That's all he says, it clarifies. Similarly, here he's saying, Tatvikartham iti guruhu upadishati tatvikartham. He doesn't give you advice about the intermediate level challenges. He gives you some advice about that ultimate challenge and how to deal with it, by the end of which, depending on who you are, you can deal with your problems. So atra vyapti pradarshakatvena upayaha, because he tells you doing what you can reach there. If you do this sadhana, you will reach there. If you don't do it, you won't reach. So he explains you the relationship between what you are doing, how you are doing, and what the destination can be or how you can reach that destination. Taduktam Sri Malini Vijay Saha Guru Matsamaha Guruhu Matsamaha Prokta Mantra Virya Prakashaka. Bhagavan himself is saying. He's almost like me. Why? Bhagavan had mentioned, those who are in the Sambho Upaya, do you know whatever he wants happens? Because he's no different from me. Bhagavan is saying Matsamaha is verily same as me. There are a lot of texts which also glorify the Guru in a way which can be a little imaginative. You might consider that, where kind of enslavement to the physical figure of the Guru seem to be preached in Guru Gita text. Maybe certain verses were added by later day gurus, we do not know. I don't have expertise on that particular text regarding the authenticity of all the verses. But they're saying that, if Lord Shiva is angry, you can pacify him. If Guru is angry, you cannot do anything. Many of these verses which are there about gurus is essentially to create right kind of devotional attitude. But in the absence of a pure spiritual purpose, clear spiritual purpose, what happens is that these are used as techniques to hold somebody hostage, for the Guru to exercise some psychological influence on you. You're held hostage to his influence. Then he demands some donations or this or that, and then there's some problem. There could be a fallout. And then you will go and write a book against it. I think there's a beautiful guy who, he was into, I'm forgetting his name. He's written a book called Straight is the Path. I once picked up that book in Kathmandu and I read some pages. Beautiful. He came to India and he settled, and how he met the mother of Pondicherry, not the Shrima, but there was another lady who was also called the mother. And then apparently he was gay, but the mother wanted him to marry, avoid all these things, and there was a fallout. And then he felt very bitter and he went up, and then I think somewhere in Srirangam he met a Christian, because he was Christian, and how he returned to the path, and then he sort of became a eclectic kind of a spiritual person, where he sort of brought together Sufism and yoga and Vedanta, Tantra and everything, and had his own cocktail where he said that it's not important to go to a guru and stuff like that because he felt psychologically abused. All these things are coming because the guru, instead of focusing on the ultimate destination, is getting into your life. There is some loss of purpose on the part of both the Sishya and the Guru. But here it's very clear. The relationship is about only one thing: our journey to the final destination. If we are bringing into this whole interaction other minor things, there could be problems. But other minor things may make an entry because it's a human interaction. But one has to always look at what the text says. It says it's only about that. Sa Guru Mat Samaha Prokta Mantra Virya Prakashakaha is the one who lights up mantra and virya. How do you reach there? How do you make sense of it? How do you practice it? And then he's saying, Spandakarikayam, in Spandakarika, what he said, Agada Sansayam Bodhi Samuttarana Tarinim. Agadha Sansayam Bodhi, in the ocean of doubts and confusions. Agad. I mean, it's a bottomless ocean. It's a vast ocean of doubts and conflicts, confusions. Is like a boat. The Guru is like a boat who is going to help you cross over. Your faith is like a boat. Your sadhana is like a boat. But Guru is directly coming as a boat. He's saying what? Agada Sansayam Bodhi Samuttarana Tarinim. He is able to pull you out of it. And then what? Bande Vichitra Vichitrartha Padam Chitram Tam Guru Bharatim. There are so many wonderful things which you have never imagined these things can happen. Can you imagine? He says, Chitta Mantra. From childhood, we have learned, yeah, if you do this mantra, you will get this and this and that. Finally saying, do you know mantra and a mantri are not two different things? The one who is doing mantra sadhana and the mantra that he's chanting are not supposed to be different. If he thinks they are different, he would not make any progress. This beautiful thing, who would have told us before? No one. So we are dealing with this whole Guru Parampara here. Through the Guru Parampara, we may not have the physical person available to us, but through the Parampara, we are getting his words. And more than Guru physical existence, his words are always given more importance. That Vangmaya Parampara. Therefore, he's saying, so, Bande Vichitrartha Pradam Chitram Tam Guru Bharatim. That is what he's trying to say. Now, this is about very brief. But we would be looking at now a few things. We have another 20 minutes, and I'll try to sort of cover in a general way from other sources. First, try to understand, what is this Guru thing? Who is he? What is the meaning of this word Guru? Can we do some vigraha? Can we make sense of the word Guru? Let's do that. Why is it called Upaya? So, as per the tradition, the Guru word has been explained in various ways, and we are trying to look at that. Gakaraha siddhida prokta refaha papasya dahakaha ukaraha samburityukta tritayatma guru smitaha. Gakaraha siddhidaha siddhi pradayaka siddhim dadatiti siddhidaha. It gives you siddhi. That is the Guru. Gakaraha. Refaha papasya dahaka. Rang Vija, for example, they say it represents fire. So here, through these Refa, Guru, so he's saying Papa dahaka, papasya dahaka, it burns your sins. You have a loan account and you have a credit account. He will expand the balance sheet in your credit account, but he has to also lower your loan account. That is the papa dahaka. A lot of distractions, a lot of problems. If a person starts doing it, he faces obstacles in sadhana. Anybody who wants to get into it, there are a lot of gurus, Shivananji Maharaj, they have all written what are the obstacles the sadhaka faces. I mean, in Christian mysticism, they have all recorded what kind of obstacles, like the idea of dark night of the soul, wrestling with God. There's so many concepts which are there. You will have a bit of depression, a bit of distraction. They will keep guiding you, keep inspiring you. These experiences, the texts. Ukara sambhurituktas, then guru, then ukara. That is verily Sambhu iti uktas tite atma guru smutaha. So, siddhi dana papa dahana, siddhi dana papa dahana, and verily these both things are done by Paramashiva. Ukara is Sambhu, he is Shubhakaraka Shambhu. So, he is the one together, these three principles you combine, that is Guru. That is what is mentioned here. Now even we'll go further. And there are certain other commentators who are made in different traditions. We'll look at that. So some people would say that Gakara is Siddhi Pradartha and Rakara is Papatahaka and Ukara. It is slightly different. Some people say it's Vishnu Tattva. Ukara is Vishnu Tattva, some people say. And some other people say Gukara is Andhakara and Rukara is Andhakara Nirodhaka. That is the most popular way of interpreting it. Guru is the one who removes the darkness. Physical darkness? No. Ignorance. Who removes ignorance. So in the Kularnava Tantra, a very famous text, at one time it was very popular in Bengal and Assam. In Kularnava Tantra, what does it say? Gu savdastandhakaraha syad ru savdastan nirodhakaha. Gu savda tu andhakaraha. It represents andhakaraha. Ru, then what is it? Ru savdastan. Tan means tat nirodhakaha, andhakara nirodhakaha. What removes the darkness of ignorance? Andhakara nirodhatvat. Because it removes the darkness, Guru Itya Vitiyate. Therefore, he is called the Guru. This is Kularnava Tantra. And then, that same thing is twisted a little. It says, Gakaraha Siddhidaha Prokta. And Gakara is Siddhidana Kari. Siddhidaha Prokta. Refaha Papasyadahakaha. Ukaro Vishnu Rituktas Tritiyatma Guru Smridaha. Wahan pe the Ukara is called Shiva, here it is called Vishnu. We got no problem. Why? We are Brahmavadins. We are named, not a problem. We are talking about the Paramatattva. So, there are other people also have made interesting interpretations with slight alteration in the way they want to make sense of Gakara, Refa, Ukaradi, which is in the word Guru. So what do they say? Some people say Gakara, some people say Siddhadana, Siddhidana. Ru is Papadahana, destruction of the distractions, obstacles, your bad loans in the world of spiritual sadhana. The greatest, there are a lot of such stories. One guy once went to Ma Sharada and said, Ma, I'm trying to do sadhana, but I cannot do any sadhana. I'm trying to overcome, these papa vasanas, but sometimes they still invade me. What should I do? But he was fiercely dedicated to Thakur. Mother knew it. So Ma told them, okay, there would be some desire. The frame is there. Don't you worry too much. And as for sadhana, you focus on your work. You have a family, you have a lot of problems. I will do sadhana for you. So that kind of a spiritual protection she offered him. Right? Papadahakaha and Siddhida. Siddhidana and a Papadahana, both. She is representing as Guru. That is what we are making sense of. Okay. Then what he says, Gakaraha Siddhido Prokto Refaha Papasyadahakaha. Here, a bit of alteration. Gakaro Jnana Sampatti Refas Tatra Prakashakaha. Siddhi they were mentioning. Now he's saying Jnana Sampatti. What kind of Siddhi actually it gives? Would the Guru bless you with? Some people, of course, go, we don't have a child. Can you? My wife seems to be barren. Can we have a child? Guru might bless you and you have a child. So many stories are there to cite similar stories. But that's not what is the Guru's main presence is for. That's not the main reason as to why a Guru is at all in a physical body. The reason Guru is there is in fact to hold your hand and take you to Parama Shiva Tattva. So he's saying, Gakaro Jnana Sampatti, the wealth, the abundant wealth of self-awareness, of knowledge. Refas Tatra Prakashakaha, that Jnana Sampatti, somebody has to enlighten you, put it before you, Prakashakaha. If there's a piece of diamond in a room, you don't know where is it, you will never find it. Somebody tells you it's in that case or that particular box, you find it. Ukara Siva Tadatmyam. Then Ukara is Shiva or Vishnu? No, we're not relevant. What is that? Shiva Tadatmya. Shiva is there, you are there. Then there is duality. Ukara here represents the non-differentiation between you and the Siva Tattva. That is the Ukara. That is completely Avedapatti. Not perfect non-dual consciousness which you realize. Guru ityatra vidiyate. Guru iti avidiyate. Okay. Now there is another interesting formulation taken from the Yoga Vasistha in different contexts. Sometimes you see you are in depression and you go to your Guru. Then what happens because of his sheer presence, because of the sheer location? What happens when we go to, why we go to temples? Why we go to, anybody goes to churches or temples? Or you want to go and sit in a very silent place in the mountain top or somebody. Why do you want to do that? How does it help? You are in your house, you're going to do your work, you're coming back. No. When you change your location, you try to have a new setting for your experience as a human being, then the new conditions sometimes revive certain connectivities which you had with your inner self. With your own inner self, those connectivity, those wires, which are actually giving you a link between your mental self, your Vijnanamaya and Manomaya Kosha, and that Atma Satta. Certain wires are there. They are not apparent to you. They are not visible to you. When you take your attention away from where you are involved, like we are doing this satsang, you can watch, the parliament in India is going on, some nonsensical debates are going on. You can waste your time on this political tutu meme, which continues. Interestingly, in all countries now, whether it is US or UK, now France, now India, sharply divided politically. You want to spoil your mental peace, the best thing to do, quick thing to do to disturb your mental peace is to open the newspaper or listen to these debates on the YouTube. Very quickly you can disturb yourself. But one shouldn't. So by changing the context, by going to a Guru, what happens is, sometimes by his sheer presence, by his own look, as that person, great author Osman mentioned about Ramana Maharshi, he could deeply look into your eyes for a few seconds and then transform your consciousness. Can he transform? No. What was he doing? By sheer presence, he was in a way empowering you without your knowing about it to discard, to dismiss, to shake off many preoccupations of your body-mind complex, especially your Vijnanamaya Kosha and the Manomaya Kosha, when you drop all these baggages, something becomes very clear to you which you weren't being able to see earlier. And that gives you that epiphany, aha moment. Oh my God, this is different. What is it? And where am I getting it? You want to pursue and you want to clearly see it. You want to find ways in which you can enter that state on your own. Then you start the sadhana. Then beautiful that Yoga Vasishta says in the Nirvana Prakarana, Darshanat Sparshanat Sabdat. The Guru might, by just looking at you, or by you seeing him, Sparshanat, he might just touch you, like Thakur touched Swami Vivekananda. Darshanat Sabdat, he might tell you a couple of words, a sharp sentence, a few words. Kripaya Sisya Dehake, because of his compassion to the disciple. Janet Yaha Samavesham. What does he create? He creates a Samavesha. Can you imagine that state of non-duality, non-differentiated state of oneness with the divine? Sambhavam. That Samavesha is not about a house and a car, about a relationship. No, it's about that supreme divine thing. He gives you that connectivity. Sahi Deshikaha. He's a Deshika. What is? He gives you Disha Nirdesha. He tells you this is the direction. You want to go to Gandhara? It's in the northwesterly direction. You have to walk like this. Vedanta Deshika. These are Deshika word is very important. He tells you, he gives you Disha Nirdesha. Way to. How to is another question. But first, way to. Therefore, it's a beautiful thing. So he's called, this is also another way to look at why is Guru Upaya. Similarly, there's another such verse is Yasmana Maheshwara Sakshat Kritva Manusha Vigraham. Many times we say Sankaracharya was Lord Shiva's avatar. What is the reality is not important here. What is important is what is that spiritual moment he represented. He created a kind of fermentation. He took the attention of society away from the Brahmanical karmakandas towards jnana. Rite jnanam na kaivalya. Do these pujas. Please these kings and businessmen. Get their money, do havans and all. You're wasting all your time. Because the main purpose of life is to get liberation. That's not going to be there until you realize who you are. And that realization cannot come through any kind of artificial manipulation of your body, of your mind, external thing. You can go to Swarga, it's Anitya, you have to come back. So he wrote all these in the Bhashyas of the Upanishads, also in the Brahma Sutras. And that is the revolution he created. That's why he's called Shiva's avatar. Therefore, he's saying what? Yasman Maheshwara Sakyat. Because Maheshwara himself, Kritva Manusha Vigraham, he has come here through the body of a human being. And that's very real. See, there are two ways to look at these gurus as Bhagwan's avatar. One is to say that they have become Bhagwan, and then you have that Tadatmyapati and develop an emotional bondage, and then you start doing glorification. All the Paramparavits, all the Parampara people, Sampradaya people, will have that obsession with their spiritual idols, and they are ready to fight with you and kill you, which is contrary to what their spiritual idol has preached. Whether it is Buddhists, with any particular spiritual school you say, they're ready to kill someone else because of their dedication to that particular tradition, which is not at all permitted or preached by that tradition. It's a game of our own Manomaya Kosha and Vijnanamaya Kosha. Confused mind creates these kind of things. What he's mentioning here, Yasman Sakshad Maheshwaraha Manusha Vigraham Kritva Agataha. He has come to give us advice. The right way to understand is that we, through this Guru, we are trying to connect ourselves with the Supreme Divine. That is the most important thing. We are forgetting the main goal. Then with an intermediate product, it's like the Guru said, where is God? And he raised the finger upwards. And then what happens? Everybody says this. What is Guru? This, all kinds of symbolisms. This is not God. You are saying God is above all else. You get confused with a particular gesture and glorify it, repeat it, popularize it. Then you have a lot of symbols and all sorts of things and literature on that. It's nothing to do with Guru. Nothing to do with the destination. He wants his disciples. Is essentially a person who is going towards that destination. He wants people to reach there. But then we create a tradition and destroy the goal. Yasman Maheshwara Sakshat Kritva Manusha Vigraham Kripaya Guru Rupina Maganaha Prodharati Prajaha. Those people who are lost in this world, Magnaha Prajaha, we are Jivana Magna, Prema Magana, Artha Magana. We are drowned in all these issues. He comes and removes these fetters on the ability of us reaching that state of unity with the Supreme Divine. He removes these bondages, chains, helps us unshackle, break these, make ourselves free. That is Guru. And in the Malini Vijayatra Tantra, the same thing which you quoted, Saha iyashu Siva Ichchaya Bhukti Mukti Prasiddhyartham Niyati Sadgurum Prati. This is most important. There are different kinds of gurus. And I tell you, most important thing is, sometimes gurus also give you some bhukti because there is some prarabdha, there is some essential need. Remember, Swami Vivekananda had gone to Thakur asking for help. He didn't have a job, brothers to be educated, large family. Isn't it? People have these problems in their individual lives. And unless the Guru, in a way, comes to help them in dealing with that, he will not be able to give them the next higher thing, which is about spiritual sadhana, because there's a pressing issue that needs to be addressed. So, bhukti and mukti both niyate sadgurum prati. So, there are different ways in which these gurus are divided. One is akalpita. Okay? Akalpita is called, is a Sansitika Guru, like Bhamadeva, like Ramana Maharshi. Ramana Maharshi had no Guru. He just realized his truth. He had a fear of death, and then he woke up to the realization. Akalpita, his essay, it's God-given realization. Then akalpita. So you have, through logic, through experience, through sadhana, a person reaches there. Or maybe on another guru who gives you that realization. There is the large number of gurus there. And a kalpita, you have some realization, but you have not found a way to ascertain it, test it yourself. You go to a guru, he helps you, like Swami Vivekananda. He was self-realized, he was a liberated soul. He had some inner consciousness about what life is and who he is. But then he had doubts, and those doubts were removed by Thakur Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. So, kalpita, akalpita. So, he's saying what? The realization appears in him on his own. Guru helps him. But his realization is on his own. It's not the Guru kind of engineered something in him. Nothing of that sort. Finally, akalpita kalpaka. These are both. That's also a majority of people. First thing is that they are by birth pure souls. Akalpita, Sansitika. And then at the same time, then they read Shastras. They perfect what they understand. In that category, a lot of people will also belong. You want to actually reconfirm, you want to test, you want to find out, is it correct what I know? Let me see what is written in the texts. I see a lot of people who are already our gurus. They have already read a lot of things. And then I look at the life of Sri Ramatirtha. He was already a great guru in the West. He went to England and other places. He preached Advaita Vedanta. mostly packaged with a bit of, a bit of spices put in, sprinkle of Sufism and all kinds of eclectic things. And then he comes back, goes to Banaras and goes to pick up a conversation. And people ask, have you read this text? Where did you get this interpretation? Oh, these are all our own new creations. Then he learns Sanskrit, he starts getting into it, and he loses interest in much of his poetic way of expounding the idea of Advaita Vedanta, because he figures out many of these were very imaginative explanations, good, creative, but he wanted to look at the Shastra, and then he became deeply engrossed in himself. And he went to, I think, Devrag or Uttarkashi, where he lived, and then on one Dasara, he got swayed away in the in the source of the Ganges. And then you have Jnana. And then there is a Sadguru. There is a big difference between this. The Jnani Guru will give you Jnana. The Sadguru will give you Jnana and Vijnana. So you have great Acharyas, Vedanta Acharyas, and they'll give you what it is and explain.